Happy Friday, everybody. My name's Kathy Leggett. I am the Future Ready Iowa Policy Advisor at Iowa Workforce Development. Thanks for joining us today. We're excited about this new option, this not new, kind of updated option for childcare in the state. So we're going to get right to it. We have a lot of information to share with you. First, I'm going to have folks go around and do introductions so you know who we have on here as resources for you. So Karen, why don't you go ahead first?
Good morning. My name is Karen Evans, and I assist Kathy with Future Ready Iowa. So good source for questions if you have any questions.
Yes. Dawn.
Happy Friday, everybody. I'm Dawn Oliver Wyan, the president and CEO at the Iowa Women's Foundation. And we're excited to work with you to come up with different possible partnerships between businesses and childcare providers. Thank you.
Great. Sherry.
Good morning. I'm Sherry Penny. I am the Employer Engagement Director with the Iowa Women's Foundation. And my role really is to help businesses understand how they can partner with childcare centers to help their workforce retention.
Great, thanks. Ryan.
Good morning. I am Ryan Page. I am with the Department of Health and Human Services in the Child Care Bureau and been working very closely with Kathy and her team on this project and some other projects as well.
Great. Brian.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Brian Dennis. I'm a program coordinator with Iowa Workforce Development, and I'm actually going to go through the Iowa Grants site with you and show you how to drive through and actually find the grant and actually apply for the grant.
Nice, thank you. And Patrick, just please say hello.
Yeah, hi, everyone. Patrick Rice, I'm with IWD as well.
And Patrick's on the grant side too, so somebody you may very well come in contact with. And then Greg, I just want to say thanks so much. Greg's our support for communications and all things technical. So thanks for being with us, Greg. I'm going to go ahead and try and share my screen here to get us started. Make sure I got the right one. Can you guys see that? Not yet.
It looks like you're sharing on my end.
Can you guys see it?
Not anymore. Now it's showing the Zoom. It did have the PowerPoint a second ago, though.
It did? Okay, just let me move it. Sorry, folks. Go away. Okay, let's try one more time. PowerPoint. Why does this happen?
Always when you're presenting, right? It's always when you're presenting.
I know. Can you see it?
It looks like it's, yep, it's showing now, Kathy.
Okay, I'm not touching a thing. Okay, thank you. All right, now I gotta. Okay, very good. Right, we're on introductions.
You're
Yeah,
good.
not yeah. Okay, so welcome introductions. Good. So just FYI, and I do go through things quickly, folks out there. Our goal is to give you a basic overview of information on this grant opportunity, to talk about Iowa grants and review that just in case you've not been in that system, because you do have to do an application through Iowa grants. We're gonna refer to the notice of funding, which is posted on the website and in Iowa grants, and then provide you a few examples and ideas to, you know, if you're kind of wondering, if you're saying, I want to do this, I'm not sure exactly how, provide that. But please know, following this webinar, because we only have an hour here, we are here as resources for you, and you can contact us and we'll get you to the right person. If it's not us, you know, we'll get you to the right person. So please reach out when you need any type of assistance. Please put your questions in the chat and we will answer as many questions as we can at the end. The time we have at the end, we'll go through as many as we can. But if we get everything collected there, and I think Greg already put something out for people to put questions in as well, then we will take all of those, get the answers, and we will post it on the website, on the Future Ready Iowa website, where all the childcare grant information is. So hopefully our goal is always within a couple of days. It depends on how many there are and what type of research we may have to do, but those answers will be posted for everybody to see on the Future Ready Iowa website. So this grant purpose, just to be clear, this is a slots grant only. The previous grant that was just announced was infrastructure or slots. So you had two options, one grant application. This grant is slots only. So please make sure you note that there will be no grant for infrastructure. So if you submit something for infrastructure, it's not going to be reviewed because this is for the slots part only. And definitely that this work and a lot of the work we're doing is connected to the top recommendation of the Child Care Task Force to really work on business engagement within the child care realm and as a workforce issue. So you'll see this later, but as a reminder too, employers not in the business of doing child care are the ones who can be the applicants. So if you're a child care provider, which we want on this call and we want to know about this, it's to partner. You need to develop that partnership with employers to have them be an applicant. And we have great people who can help you even know how to do that. So, okay, the application timelines, it's open now. As you know, the application is to close on October 17th at 11:59 a.m. So right before noon. I know that some of our grants used to close at midnight, and that caught some people off guard before because if they're used to our grants, they were like, they always closed at midnight. I had until midnight, but not anymore. So just make note of that. It's right before noon on October 17th. Let's see. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, Ryan, with more of the specifics. Ryan is going to be your contact at Health and Human Services for this grant, but we're all here to support her. So Ryan, why don't you go ahead and when you're ready to flip slides, I'll do that for you.
Sounds great. Thank you. Okay, so prioritization, it's going to be the same as we had previously the first time that this was offered. We're looking for projects that can demonstrate they meet documented need of the employer's employees. So this was an area that some applications were really strong, some needed some work. We need to know that businesses really understand what their employees are needing, either through surveys, statements, if you have data around absences because they have childcare issues. Those are the types of things that we're looking for. Projects that have not received Child Care Challenge or investing in Iowa's childcare, we've prefaced that, but at the same time, the intent of who the applicant is are people not in the business of childcare, and therefore most applicants would not have gotten any of this funding. However, we have seen a couple where there's a childcare facility that is already at an employer and they have gotten that, and the employer of record, they're the same company. So need to be thinking about that. And then really putting forth creative new strategies that are linking, addressing those local childcare challenges as well. So what the business is doing and how that's fitting into the community need overall. Go ahead. Okay, so also we always are focused on the childcare deserts. So you're going to see areas of gray. There is a link that you can go to kind of figure out if you are in an area that's specifically identified as a childcare desert. We are always trying to make sure that there's access to care in those specific spaces. More often they're rural. And then just as a side note, we have had other childcare grant opportunities, and so there are some award dots there, so you can see where we've put funding throughout the state. Go ahead. Okay, so subsidizing the cost of care for employees in partnership with licensed or registered providers. That is our funding priority. So this is business partners with an existing childcare facility. If they have slots available, then they are going to be able to partner with you so that you can have those for your employees specifically. And I'm probably going to get ahead of myself, but because I have it in my head right now, I'm going to say it. So this is a 50-50 grant match opportunity. One of the questions that I've gotten recently is around that subsidizing that 50%. Where can that 50% come from? It needs to come from the business or the consortium. It cannot be passed on to employees. It can't be something that reduces the wages or the existing benefits of employees. This is a business investment. So we just wanted to put that out there. Projects that build the supply of care for underserved populations. So infants and toddlers, we're always struggling to have enough slots for infants and toddlers. Those that work non-traditional work hours, we might have some businesses on here with us today that are second and third shift. And so can you work with providers to extend their hours perhaps to serve your employees? Those dual language learners, children with disabilities, rural communities, these are all priorities for our department and this project because those are the children that are traditionally underserved. So if you are able to kind of work in that priority, you want to make sure that you're really highlighting that. Go ahead. Okay, so eligible applicants, businesses and consortiums of employers in good standing. There's more information in the NOFO on the minimum number of employees being 75 to be eligible to apply for this. So if I have childcare providers on the call, childcare providers are not eligible to apply for this grant. However, you could reach out to businesses in your community to see if they have interest in applying for this and you being a partner in that application. If you do that, what Iowa Women's Foundation, they're going to talk a little bit, but they can help you kind of strategize if you have a message that you want to provide to businesses. We want to make sure that we're building these relationships in communities and not severing them or the potential for them based off of kind of that cold call to a random CEO. So we want to be mindful of how we're engaging in those relationships. Applicants must be employers, not the primary business of providing childcare services. Already mentioned that. And then strongly encouraged to cultivate those partnerships to enhance the activities and outcomes. So we really, really want you working within your community and building partnerships that are going to be long lasting and sustainable past this grant opportunity. Go ahead.
Okay, great. I wanted to add one thing. I actually, it's emphasizing, Ryan, what you said. With our last grant application, I certainly had childcare providers calling me and saying, I'm not sure how to do this. I want to partner with business. I just don't know. I don't know how to do that. And so I just want to, again, point to the resources we have at the Iowa Women's Foundation, because they were extremely helpful and willing. Have them call us because we can help guide them. So I'm just emphasizing that you have resource to learn how to do that. Mm-hmm. I think we already kind of covered this.
Yep.
Can we hold on one just?
Yeah,
I apologize for breaking in. Brian has another meeting he needs to go to. So if we can just switch, and I apologize for doing this midway through, but if we can switch to the Iowa grants portion.
Hang on.
There's not a slideshow for it, Kathy. He was going to share his own slides.
Oh, okay, great then. Yeah. Okay. So I need to stop sharing. Got it. Okie dokie. It's all yours, Brian.
All right. Well, as always, Brian gets to be the difficult one. So again, thank you everyone for joining us today. So I am going to share my screen. So again, my name is Brian Dennis, and you'll have both my information and Patrick's information as part of the slide deck. And we're really here to be of assistance with actually navigating the Iowa grant site. So I'm going to assume that no one is familiar with Iowa grants. I'm sure some of you, or maybe even all of you are, but we'll just start from there to make sure that we cover everything. So are folks seeing the slideshow regarding the grant, navigating iowagrants.gov?
Yes.
Okay, I
Yes.
see some nodding. Fantastic. And hopefully in just a moment, you will see a full slide. My computer's thinking. And it continues to think because it's Friday.
Mhm.
All right, so hopefully in a second, the full slides will show up and I will give a, yep. All right, looks like hopefully the full slides are showing now. Okay,
Yep.
beautiful. So I'm just gonna go through a few slides here, then I'm actually gonna take you to the site and show you what it's like to, again, navigate the site. But first off, the main thing is actually getting registered for Iowa grants. So shockingly, the website for Iowa grants is iowagrants.gov. So that's where you'll start. So again, I'm assuming that I'm going to look at this. No one's done this before. If you go to www.iowagrants.gov, that is where you will register yourself as a user. So if you've never registered with Iowa Grants before, you will click the new user register here. If you've already navigated the space before, obviously you are registering your returning user. And if you don't know, if you try and register and it says you've already registered, then there you go. There's also a way to recover your password if you maybe have previously registered but not used the site in quite a while. If you're newly registering, you'll put in your information. So as you see here, we've got Mickey Mantle, who's registering. So a lot of this is self-explanatory. I'm assuming most of us have registered online for things from social media to lots of other things. So you just put in your first and last name. Once you click the register, you need to establish your account ID. So you will come up with the name, which will use the domain @Iowa ID. So most people just use their first and last name without a space. If the ID is already taken, the system will alert you to that. You'll just need to try another ID that is available. Again, it will pre-populate with your name. You will then confirm the email that you'll get alerts and emails from the system. And once you save your account details, you may get a pop-up that asks you if you want to continue. If the pop-up asks you that, please hit OK. And once you do that, you'll get this screen that basically says you'll receive an email to confirm your email so you can finish up your registration. This is where I always strongly encourage people, check your spam. Occasionally those emails do get targeted as spam. So if you don't get this pretty immediately, check your spam folder to see if that's where it got sent. Once you find the email, you'll click a confirmation link, which again, this should not be anything new for folks that are used to registering on websites. You have to identify your security questions as well as confirm the password that you'll use in the system going forward. Then you can actually go to iowagrants.gov and then you can log in with your new username and finish the activation. All right. Once we get done with those, you'll have some information that you'll enter in. As you can see, you'll enter some personal identification. You'll need to identify your program area of interest. You will have several options. The best option for you for this particular offering is to identify that your program area of interest is Future Ready Iowa. So again, there will be several options that may sound like this is what I should be clicking. The one you want to select is Future Ready Iowa. And then you'll click the register and then you will wait to get final approval of your registration. The two people who get alerted that you have registered in the system is both Patrick and I. I know we both tried. Patrick is really fast with getting these confirmed. So generally, if you give us only a few minutes, you'll typically get an alert that you've been approved. But if more than 1 or 2 business days passes, unless it's something unusual, like it's a holiday or something, typically if more than 1 or 2 business days passes, just shoot us an email or give us a call saying, hey, I registered, where's that approval? Again, oftentimes the approval goes to your spam. Every person's ever called me about that, the answer has always been, I approved it. And when they check their spam folder, There it is. So again, get used to checking your spam folder for some emails from us. All right. With that being said, I'm going to now, unless someone has questions, I'm actually going to go to the actual site and show you, once you log in, how to navigate the site, how to find the grant, and how to actually create a grant application. But I do want to take a second, and if anyone has any questions about what I've shown you so far, please feel free to put those in the chat or ask any questions. All right, I'm assuming that we're good. So now I'm going to take us to the actual Iowa Grants website. So again, hopefully you're seeing iowagrants.gov on the screen as I can drive you through the site. Are we seeing iowagrants.gov? Okay, perfect. Okay, I saw some minimal nodding. I'm like, okay, all right, there we go. All right.
No, hey, I'm seeing your slides, Brian.
Oh, you're seeing my slides.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, hang on then. Let me make sure. Okay. How about now? Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so this again is the Iowa Grants website. So if you go to that URL, this will take you to where you would go to actually log in. So we're going to assume, again, this is where you would go to begin your registration. And then once everything is done, you're going to log in now as a returning user. So if you click returning user sign in, I'm actually going to log in using my non-state ID. And I just forgot it just that quickly. I asked to log in a little earlier. So we're going to see if Brian can remember his ID real quick.
I believe in you.
All right, well, let's find out. And if it doesn't work, we'll just blame Patrick.
Okay.
All right, that was not it. All right. Oh, I do not want to get locked out. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to log in as myself just to show you that. And I apologize. I logged in earlier just to show, and I don't again want to get us locked out. So I will, unless Patrick, do you want to just log in and share your screen, and then we can drive?
That'll work.
Okay, so I will stop sharing. I apologize, and Patrick can share his screen.
All right, is everyone able to see the big blue box that says Dom electronic
Yep.
grant? Thank you.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself. So
Yep. And I'll just give some instructions here. Okay, so once you put that in there, you'll just sign in. Okay, so here's what you'll actually do. So you will, this home screen is where you're gonna land. So every time you log in, this is what your screen will look like. So before we actually get into the actual weeds of this, when in doubt, if you're in this system, if you scroll over to where you see the little house and where it says menu, that is your home button, okay? So when in doubt, if you hit that screen, that will take you back to this landing page. So if you're in the middle of something, it will tell you, hey, if you log out, if you hit this, your unsaved progress. But if you're good with where you're at and you just want to go back to the landing page, when in doubt, hit home. So from there, we're going to actually show you how to find the grant. So if you click funding opportunity, you're going to see a page with several grants. So we want to actually help you find the actual offering that you're applying for. So if you hit Control F on your keyboard and type in slot, S-L-O-T, that is a keyword search that will bring up the actual grant. So, and as you see, it is the Workforce Development, the Future Ready Iowa. Why it's important to kind of have that as your area of interest, and then the 2022 slot only Child Care Business Incentive Grant. Once you click on that hyperlink, it will take you to this page, which actually has a great deal of the information. So at the very top, you'll see really the really important info. So the award range amount, so 5,000 to 250,000, the project start and end date, and at the very top, what's really important is the deadline. So 10/17, and I believe Kathy said it's 11:59 a.m. So you really want to have it done before you get to noon.
Yep.
So when in doubt, don't let that 1 minute trip you up. I would go by the 11:59 a.m. time frame. And by the way, Patrick, if you don't mind scrolling up again, that's a little bit. As you can see, Patrick is the program officer. So again, my information is also, you can definitely get a hold of me, but as you can see, Patrick's phone number and email are there as well, where you can obviously reach out if you have any questions. And by the way, down lower, it does say 11:59 a.m. So 11:59 a.m. is the deadline time on October 17th. All right. Patrick, if you just scroll down to the very bottom, there's lots of text here that has the performance guidelines, the meaning of the grant, lots of really good information, which you definitely want to familiarize yourself with. But then at the very bottom of the information of the offering is several attachments and resource documents. One of the big ones is the application outline. We also have an FAQ document. There's a new user's guide, which again, when in doubt, you can also go to that and talk about how to navigate the system as well. And we have things that you will need to attach, such as your grant. So you definitely want to make sure that you're aware of where these attachments are, because these are going to be resource documents to help you do the application or vital pieces to attach when completing your application. All right. So Patrick, if you'll go back up to the very top, sir. So Patrick, if you hit start and start a new application, and then we'll probably get out of that, but if you'll click start a new application for me, sir. Great. So when you want to start the application, let's say this was Kathy doing this. So if Kathy's registered, when you click new application, it will show Kathy's information. And then what you'll need to do here is fill in the project title. So the name of your application. That's the very first thing you need to do. So we won't start a new app here, but this will be your first thing. So before you do anything else, you just need to name your application. And so if Patrick will hit back and then hit save, by the way. So if Patrick, yep, if you hit back for me. Since Patrick already started an application, we'll surf through the application he's already started. So you can see what he has one that's called test application. If you click on that link, you can always edit your application. One of the first things you'll need to do is begin to complete each one of these sections. If you look where it says general information, that is where you name the application. So you see that's already clicked as complete. However, let's say you didn't want to name it test application. You want to name it the best application ever. If you want to do that, you hit edit and you can just change the application name. So you may name your project a certain thing for whatever reason, you catch a misspelling, you just want to change it, you can always do that, okay? So that don't feel like just because you name it one thing, that's locked in stone if you want to change it. Once you actually get into this, you're going to see the general information box is already going to be checked. You have the different sections that you want to go through. So you want to get yourself familiarized with each one of these. Where we're going to spend a little bit of time, though, is the section that is marked Child Care Challenge. All right. So as you can see here, you have lots of information down here, and you need to complete this thoroughly for your grant application. So Patrick, you hit edit. Thank you very much. When you get through this, do this, you'll see there are several areas. Many of them have a red asterisk as saying that it's required. So at the top of it, you'll ask, does it, how many employees do you have? The minimum is 75. So basically you're attesting yes or no to that. And then let's assume you're going to put yes. You say, do you have between 75 and 250, or do you have more than 250 full-time employees? You can list the information, especially regarding cost sharing, currently in Iowa Child Care Center, several questions regarding the center, the services, and more importantly, the design. So you can see we've got text spot for the project design, define any barriers, the partnerships that are really part of this project, the plan, measures and evaluation, sustainability, each and every one of these sections. And there's guidance, as you can see, around the text area for you to put in that information. And this, I will say, if you have questions about this is where you want to talk to Kathy and the other members of the team, because they're gonna know the ins and outs of the actual offering. However, if you're having a hard time navigating the system, that would be a good question for Patrick or myself. Once you do anything, you hit save. And by the way, you can save and read, you can start and stop your application as many times as you want to. The big deal is to have it done obviously before 11:59 a.m. on October 17th. But once you save an area, you can always, again, look at things by either hitting the back button or the go to application forms. And you can, again, can fill out each one of these sections. So Patrick, can you hit letter of commitment? So with a letter of commitment, and forgive me, I think it says if you have multiple letters of commitment, you want to create one particular file with this. So if you hit choose file, thank you, Patrick, you will basically upload a document into the system. So if you have 5 letters of commitment, you will want to create one PDF with all the letters of commitment. The system allows you to upload one document. So again, if you have multiple letters, you'll want to create one file for that. So the system's going to think, probably shouldn't have had you click that because now it's going to think. But it works like anything else. Again, I'm assuming folks are familiar with uploading documents. As you can see, it brings up files in your computer where you can then bring in information. So you could attach, again, the PDF for your letters of commitment. And again, you will save that. And then you can either hit back, or once it saves, our user will say return to, yep, it says go to application form. So either one of those you can do. You can also mark a section as complete. And that's really useful to kind of track your progress. If you feel really good, hey, I did the letters of commitment. Okay, I'm going to mark that as complete. And that's where you get that black check mark like you see in the general information. So what I suggest people do is, you know what, just mark a section as complete as you get it done. We know there's lots of pieces to this particular offering. So that's a good way of keeping yourself in check of knowing where you've done everything is those check marks. Last part we'll show before we hop back to the home screen is the application attachments. If you would hit that, Patrick, thank you much. Which again are areas that you can also do things such as where you can also have your budget spreadsheet. If you cannot find a budget spreadsheet, that is back at that first page we showed you that had the offering. Down at the very bottom, there is the budget spreadsheet. There's the Excel template that you will use to create your budget and attach that to your application. And the project plan as well. And I believe that is an attachment. So you write out your project plan, you would attach it to the system. Kath, is there a template for that, or they just need to create their own project plan?
There's a template.
Okay, there's an actual template in the attachments. Perfect. Perfect.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So please use that. I think it will guide you too.
Beautiful. Hey, Patrick, if you're doing me a favor, hit menu. One last thing we'll show you is this. If you will click my applications. So you're working on this today. And then you're not going to touch again until Monday. That's perfectly fine. If you didn't go, hey, I need to find my application, where is it? The quickest way to find your application is to go to your My Application section. And when you click on that, it will show you all the applications that you currently have in the system. So then you can simply click on your application and begin working on it. So Pat's going to demonstrate it again. Hit my applications and then find the slot grant. If you click on that, it will take you back to the information and you can actually continue working on it. So Patrick, when you get a second, yep. And when he finishes showing that one, we'll go back and to show you a couple things with those hyperlinks of which place takes you which one. So Patrick, you'll hit backwards when you get a second. So when you hit my application, you're going to have a couple options of where you want to go. And so once the screen catches up with us. So if you click where it says test application or whatever the project title is, that is your actual application. So if you want to edit your application, you would hit the title that is under project title. If you want to look more at the overall grant, where like those attachments sit, those templates, that is where you hit the funding opportunity piece. So just so folks understand which is which, clicking the funding opportunity takes you again to the full NOFO, which is where a lot of those attachment templates and resources will live. If you click the project title link, that is your actual application that you can again edit. Hit on test application one more time for me, Patrick. I'll show you one last thing, and then if you have any questions, feel free, which is down where, right above where you, right next to where application forms, you see two links. You see preview and you see submit. So preview is just that. You can look at your grant, look at the different pieces and really feel good about your application. Submit is, again, what you do when you want to actually submit the application for a review. So our magic time frame is October 17th, no later than 11:59 a.m. My experience with grants is with any type of electronic submittal, don't go too close to the deadline, because if lots of people are trying to submit, sometimes the internet can be a thing. So I'd always say, give yourself a little bit of grace in case there's some connectivity issues. But again, preview lets you look at the actual grant pre-submitting, and then submittal is how you actually finalize the grant. So with that, does anyone have any questions about navigating the actual website?
I'm not seeing any in the chat or in the comments.
Awesome.
All right. Patrick, thank you so much for being my co-pilot. I do have to jet for another meeting. But again, if anyone has any questions about navigating the site, feel free to reach out to either to Patrick or myself.
Thank you, Brian, so much.
All right. Have a great one,
We
everyone.
appreciate it. Thanks. All right, let's go. Let's move back to the other and hopefully, can you guys see it?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, take it away, Ryan.
All right. I
I
think
gotta be on the right thing, but
yeah, go ahead and go to the next one. Okay. Yes. So sorry that we no, go to slide 11.
got you.
Thank you. So sorry, we had kind of that, we had to go off sides a little bit. So coming back to eligible applicants, what we're looking for in the application. So the project, actually we say if the project, but it will, because this is a slots project. If it's about partnering with local childcare services, within your application, you are going to want to provide evidence of partnership with child development homes or licensed centers. So you are going to want a letter, sometimes people have submitted already like a MOU, a letter of intent or some type of agreement, but we don't want businesses to apply and say, we're going to work with a center in the community. We want to know, who are you going to work with, for how many slots, for how long, at what cost? And so that's what you really need to be focused on, and then making sure you have something from that childcare provider saying, yes, we agree to do that, and make sure that everybody's on the same page. So before entering into a formal contract, then we will want to see a detailed agreement between the facility and the business to assure that everybody is getting what they what it's intended to do. Next one. Okay, so we have 4.3 million available. $250,000 cap for increasing available childcare slots. So that $250,000, that would be the maximum that HHS would fund for your project, meaning that if you were doing a 50-50 grant application, that you would also be putting in $250,000. Now, you may not need 250. You can certainly ask for less. It's going to make sense. It's going to determine, you know, once you've done a little bit of a needs assessment and you say, I've got 10 staff, and then you work with the facility and they say, we want X number of dollars per slot per week or whatever, then you start kind of figuring out the math essentially to know how much money it is that it's going to cost, and then how much you're looking for from a reimbursement on our end. Funds have to be spent by September 2024. So we've got 2 years that we can provide the funding. So what I do is contract for a year and then extend it if all is well. So that's the funding part of it. Go ahead, Kathy. Oh, you know what? Go back real quick. I'm sorry. I already said this, but I want to point out that note again, that the grant funds have to pay to provide direct payments to the childcare facility for the service. They can't be provided to employees as like a stipend or a voucher or anything like that, and they cannot they cannot be used to offset reduction in income or other benefits. So it's not something that you can add to their wages and tax later or anything like that. This is a business investment that goes directly to the childcare facility. Okay, thank you. Okay, as I mentioned, this is a 50-50 cost sharing agreement. That September 2024 deadline is because these are federal dollars from the American Rescue Plan Act into the Child Care Development Fund. So the intent, again, is to subsidize partial amount of child care slots as a benefit to employees. Go ahead. And there are some performance measures that are outlined in the notice of funding opportunity that you'll see. We do have to have the outcome of creation or support of new slots. So for those who participated previously in webinars, this opportunity is slightly different in that we aren't requiring new slots at a child care facility. If a child care facility has open slots right now, and they're saying, I can serve 20 kids, then those are eligible slots. So when you're working with a child care program, one thing you might hear is, we have slots available, but we don't have staff. Okay. One of the areas of the application is around recruitment and retention efforts. So if you are wanting to partner with a child care facility, and that facility says, I have slots available, but I don't have the staff to fill them, what can you do to help me? That is where you want to start thinking about recruitment and retention. As a business, what investment are you willing to put forward to help support that? And Dawn and Sherry can provide a couple of examples that other businesses have done when they're partnering with childcare programs, because it's not enough to be able to say, well, the childcare program does A, B, and C to recruit and retain their staff. This is about the business partnership and that relationship, and how as businesses we're going to support those local needs to serve our employees. Okay, go ahead. Okay, so this is your budget form. It's going to be pretty easy to use. You're going to want to basically say what your cost estimate is going to be. So I'm partnering with this program. It's $200 per week per child, and I'm purchasing 10 slots, and I want to do this for 46 months, and this is the cost, right? Like, that's about all you're going to need to do there. Go ahead. Okay, so project plan, this is also going to be a lot more simple to use than when we use this for the infrastructure grant. But basically you are going to need to identify what your plan is to get this off the ground and running. So what types of performance measures are you looking for? What is your timeline for each task? So is it, by the date of approval, so you get the award, then what are you going to do? What's your timeline for getting an MOU signed and agreed upon with that childcare center? Do they need time to hire staff and get people up and going? What's your first day that you're hoping to get children in the door that are your employees' families? So you're just going to want to think about what you need to do to get this off the ground. Okay, go ahead. And then sustainability. So all applications must include a plan for sustainability. One of the things that we hate to see when we have a grant opportunity is that projects die at the end of the funding stream. So this funding is only available until September 2024. I don't anticipate that more money is going to come into something like this because it's part of those stimulus packages that we've had. So what is the plan to continue the project when our funding is no longer available for that 50-50 match? Okay. Okay, so otherwise, iowagrants.gov, as Brian had talked about, making sure that you're focused on that 11:59 a.m. timeline so that it's a noon deadline. It is not a midnight deadline. So if midnight deadline is what's always in your head, then go with October 16th, okay? Because that's, that'll be midnight the day before.
Yeah.
All right.
I think let's go ahead and move over. Thank you so much, Ryan. Move on over to Sherry and Dawn to give a few examples. Because as we have about 13 minutes left, I want to get a bit of that shared. So you guys take it away.
So thank you, Kathy. Please note that this is a lot of information in just a few slides, and we have this available for you in a handout, and you can access it through our website or by contacting either Sherry or I after this event. Also, please note we're happy to share these with you, but this doesn't mean that this is the only thing you can do. These are just examples to get you thinking. Examples to think, oh, that's what somebody's doing. Can I do that? Or maybe we can do something different. So let me just kind of give you a couple of examples that we're seeing out there now. Again, understanding that this is not the only way it can be done, but this is a way to get you to start thinking about it. So we have an employer who pays so much a week for childcare for each slot, and their employee pays so much a week for each slot. We know that that's done regardless of what the rate of pay is. The center is now getting an additional amount of money per child. In the agreement between the center and the employer, the center now agrees that they have to pay their employees at least $15 an hour. Now, that's one of those recruitment and retention ideas that Ryan was referencing earlier when she said you've got to think about recruitment and retention, and you can't just depend on the child care center to do it. We know that we need to be paying more, and this is a way to help make that happen, which then in return will hopefully help them be able to recruit and retain their employees more. In addition to increasing the wages, the child care center also agrees to expand their hours. They're now open from 6:15 a.m. to 7:30. So the businesses are providing something and they are getting something in return. They are not just going to write a check. They need to get some specific things in return. We have another one where the employer pays the full cost of the child care for 14 slots for their employees for a specific period of time. In addition to that, they have 4 slots that are now drop-in or backup care. We have a lot of times when our employees can't come to work because all of a sudden their child care provider is sick. or they're going on vacation. Well, they now have 4 slots that they can access at no cost 5 times a year. And they can access an additional 5 times a year at 50% of the cost. So they're really trying to help their employees with that. And again, in return, the center has agreed to expand their hours to help accommodate the shifts that the different employees are having to work. Okay, next slide, please. Here's one where, quite honestly, this is a consortium. We're hearing a lot of that. Well, we don't have 75 employees, or, we can't do this on ourselves. Okay, let's get a group together and do it. And in this particular community, the Chamber of Commerce took the lead. So the Chamber of Commerce surveyed employers, asked them to find out from their employees and who wanted to get involved and work with them. In this group, they had 2 businesses, they had 2 centers, and they were able to work and kind of bring the 2 together and have some a partnership. Know that the Women's Foundation is here to help you with that as well. As Ryan said, childcare providers are certainly welcome to reach out, but we highly encourage you, when you go to reach out to a business, that you have a plan in place. Do not expect that they will just write you a check. You need to explain to them what you're willing to offer and what would they get in return, and what could a possible partnership look like. If you're not sure what to do, call the Women's Foundation. We'll help you. We reach out to a lot of our local partners to see who's willing to help, or if they know of anybody that can help us. So I don't want you to feel overwhelmed and not even consider it. Give us a call. We also see a lot where providers are helping, or the employer is providing funding to help with either a renovation or a new build. And then in return, they secure slots for that money. And then ongoing, and to sustain that, they pay, again, an additional amount each week or a month or quarterly, or they may pay an annual fee. However it is, we are seeing that they're providing income to help sustain the project going forward once it gets open and running. And let's go, I think I have one more. I have 2 more, I guess. Another couple of things. We see where businesses, another way to help with recruitment and retention and sustainability is that the child care providers are now employees of the business, and they receive the business's benefits. Again, this helps increases wages, it provides benefits, and it really is a way to help with recruitment and retention. We are also seeing now in many communities where local funds are being set up with dollars from public-private partners to subsidize childcare workers' wages. Again, we've got all kinds of examples of how that's done, and we're happy to share with you that if you're interested in that. And then again, here's one where the employer will partner with a child care center, providing them with direct funds to enable the center to increase wages to a competitive. So again, you're really trying to provide income to the center so they can now provide slots for your employees. And there's a lot of different ways to look at those partnerships. And we've just given you a few examples. But one of the things that Sherry and I hear a lot is we don't know how to get started, and we don't know what to do. So I really just quickly wanted to share with you what we would recommend for next steps for you. So Kathy, first of all, survey your employees and determine their needs. And we do have surveys that you can use, so you do not have to recreate the wheel. We can get you those surveys. Get there, survey them. While you're surveying them, identify if there are any local childcare centers you can partner with or in-homes. So get the surveys going, try to find those partners. And then once you have your needs determined, look and see, assess what do we need to do? Do we need infant and childcare slots? Do we need pre-K slots? You'll get an idea. And then determine what those best solutions are. And again, this is where Sherry and I can help you if you're wondering what in the world are our solutions. We can give you an idea. And then once you've got that figured out, negotiate with the child care center or in-homes to determine what could that particular partnership look like. So that's it on my part. And again, I know I went fast, but we've got this available for you, and we are available for you as well moving forward.
Yep, absolutely. Awesome. Thank you so much. So we just have a few minutes left. So I think I've got Ryan's contact information because she, as I said, she is your primary contact at Health and Human Services for this grant. But as you see, you have a lot of other people willing to help. So reach out to anybody, you know, any of us. And if we're not the right person, we'll get you to the right person. Karen, let's see, do we have some questions? I don't know if there's any questions.
Yep, we've got quite a few. So will an infrastructure
Okay.
grant become available again? The answer is we are not aware of any additional infrastructure grants at this time. Is this open for schools? Yes, it is. Somebody asked, you have to have 75 employees in the state of Iowa or organization wide. This the employer or consortium of employers needs to have a minimum of 75 full-time employees within the community of need, wherever that project is, which would be in Iowa. As an employer, we are starting to explore solutions of partnership with a child care center. Do the parameters remain the same every time funding becomes available? The answer is no. We open each with parameters that the grant is intended to focus on. If you have combined employers for the grant, would you add all of the employees for all of the businesses together? Or does at least one of the businesses have to have at least 75 employees? Also, what is the definition of a full-time employee? It needs to be 75 total employees among the consortium, and then one employer would be the applicant and be responsible for reporting and submission of requests for funds. I'll let Ryan Page answer what is the definition of a full-time employee.
Actually, I'm gonna kick back to you and Kathy. We had this answered before. I think from Brooke.
It's in the NOFO under definitions. So I can take a search for it while you're answering other questions. But in the notice of funding that is on the website, it spells out the definition of an employer there. And I want to look because I don't want to get something wrong. So I can look right now.
Next question, do the daycares have to be located in Iowa? Yes, they do. Somebody commented that this opportunity is not for underserved communities if the minimum staff is for 75 or more employees. We do encourage employers to join a consortium. The consortium together would have to have a minimum of 75 full-time employees. And then again, one of the employers would then be the applicant, but for that group of employers, our startup centers not yet established who can have partnership established be eligible. Only existing licensed childcare centers or registered child development homes would be able to partner for this opportunity. So this is not the infrastructure, this is the slots. Will there be a list of daycares that are or will be interested in partnering with employers? We've got a link that DHS provided. And all of this information, we had someone ask also, when we've got the Q&A all completed, we will send the Q&A, the slideshow, and the recording to everybody that is on this webinar today. So you will have it there. We will also post it on our Future Ready Iowa website.
There's really
Karen,
quick.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Ryan.
There's just been several questions, and Dawn, I didn't know if you had a recommendation. I know we're at 9:59 about how folks can get connected to a consortium of employers. There's several questions about how to tap into maybe coming together.
Yeah, I would highly encourage you to reach out to the local chamber of commerce or the economic development person. They'll know the businesses in the area. And they'll know who might or might not be able to be interested, or bring everybody together and find out if they're interested. And I also highly recommend childcare resource and referral for lists of providers in the areas that might be interested in partnering as well.
And, I've answered directly, Dawn, to a couple of people, but I'm going to put in the chat box our find childcare provider search, so that folks can go and look within their community and see exactly what childcare providers are there that they could potentially reach out to.
Okay, are there, go ahead, Karen, are there
I
more?
say
or
we have a lot more questions. I don't know if you want me to keep going
Okay.
or if you just want me to post them once we get.
Yeah, yep, we're gonna wrap it up. So we will answer the rest of the questions and they will be posted along with the ones that we already did answer. Quickly, I want to say an employee, when counting employees for the purpose of determining the number of employees, only full-time employees will be counted. Independent contractors and subcontractors do not count as employees. And then for the employer, and controls and directs workers and pays W-2 wages to a minimum of 75 full-time employees. And again, as Karen said, you can bring groups together and they can equal that 75. So I think I'm just going to say thank you so much for your interest. We know there's lots of questions. So just reach out, please. And we'll help in any way we can. So I want to thank everybody who was on the panel. Ryan, last comments?
We will have the Q&A up on the webpage once we get it all settled in. I'm your contact person around the grant opportunities. Dawn and Sherry are your contacts if you have questions on how the heck to get started on that. And
Yes.
these slides will also be available on the webpage.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you sometime. Okay.